Peace, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, giving honor and praise to the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Yaakov. Giving double honors to 7130 South Chicago that taught me this truth. Giving double honors to all the brothers and sisters that the Creator has awoken in these last days. With that being said, peace and shalom. All right, brothers and sisters, we're going to go into, some current events. What we're talking about, we're looking at a lot of things that's taking place on the world stage. And one of the things that's taking place on the world stage is that, believe it or not, the world, or what you would call the European power system, they are basically at war, right, with one another. See, when we're looking at the UN and things of this nature, a lot of people don't really get this, because here it is, what we're doing is we're eating and drinking and being merry, right? Meaning that we engaged into the system, whether we go to work, things of this nature, blah, blah, blah. We watching the news. A lot of us don't even watch the news. We watching the football game and things of this nature, which is nothing wrong with those things if you do it for entertainment purposes only, right? But a lot of us, see, we're not really connected to the Creator. And see, really, to be honest with you, you can't be connected to the Creator unless the Creator connects Himself to you. So you have a lot of people that's around the world today, they're engaging into what we would call in the modern and the old ancient slang back then was what? The Babylonian mystery system. See, we looking at the European common market system, right, which is headed up by the so-called white man, right? That's really the old European common market system. See, that's what that is. And see, the world today don't even understand that we're still following those systems or that culture even to this day, right? 1 second, let me get my hat. Some of the Israelites, they're saying, well, Paul said that when you talking, or you preaching, you supposed to have your head cut, your head off, right? But we gotta come at it like this: who trumped Paul? Is it the Creator or Paul? See. So with that being said, we're gonna get back to the discussion. But like I said before, most of you folks out here, you don't understand that the world that you're living in is already in what you would call World War III. And a lot of these folks is going to be ushered into the Third World War. And a lot of people is going to lose their life, see? Because all you have to do is go back and look at, quote unquote, these different wars that took place maybe about 60 or 70 years ago. And what's that? World War I and World War II, see? And back then, they had what you would call conventional bombs. See, they weren't really messing with atomic energy on the scale. I think they first was introduced to it, I would say, around World War II, right? But, World War I and World War II, it was millions of people hurt, and there was millions of people that died during that war. And they was just messing with the baby stages. What am I talking about? I'm talking about how they dropping conventional bombs from the skies and things of this nature. They was using the gun and things of this nature. They had boots on the ground. But now we're dealing with a different type of war. See, and see this situation that we're dealing with today. 1 second. We're dealing with new bombs, and that's what? That's atomic energy. See, when the Creator gave the so-called white man the ability to split the atom, see, the first thing that he did with that is that he created a bomb, you know, and he went around the world extorting other countries to be up under his rule. See, and where did he get that from? Let's look at this. Let's turn to the book of Genesis, the 10th chapter, right? Book of Genesis, the 10th chapter. Where did he get that mindset from? See? Because, you know, the so-called white man, see, he has the mindset of going around changing images, putting himself first over everything. But you know, Farrakhan made this statement back in the day. He said that you should honor thy father and thy mother. Meaning that what? You came out of us. See? And a lot of these things that these people are doing, see, they got that from somebody. See? The concept of conquering. See? So let's look at this. This is the 10th chapter of the book of Genesis. Then we're going to start reading that, I believe, the 11th chapter of the book of Genesis. Let's look at this. It says in the 10th chapter, 8th verse, it says, and Cush begot Nimrod. He began to be a mighty one in the earth. And see, who is Nimrod? Nimrod was the first one to build a society and a social order that was contrary to the Creator after the flood. See, and notice I say after the flood is because the first human spirit, because that's what we are. We're human spirits. The first one to rebel against the Creator was Adam, which is a so-called black man. See, let's not be fooled, because civilization started in what you would call Northeast Africa. So Nimrod, after the flood, he's under the influence of the Creator. So when they use the term, right, because a lot of our history today have been influenced by the Greeks, they call it antichrist, but really it's anti-Yah. See, and the first person after the flood that was anti-Yah was Nimrod, and that's a so-called black man, brothers and sisters. So what we're giving you today is we're giving you what you would call quote-unquote black history. See, black history should be spoken of every day. It's because the black man and the black woman is the parent stock of the whole entire human family. See, there wouldn't be no so-called white person if it wasn't for the so-called black man. There wouldn't be no so-called Native American, so-called Chinese, etc., if it wasn't for the so-called black man and the black woman. See, we're the parent stock of the whole universe, see, of the whole planet, per se, right? So Nimrod was the first one to rebel against the Creator. Well, we got to start using the word anti-Yah. See, he was the first one that rebelled against the Creator, because why? He wanted the worship of the people for himself, and who he's coming in the spirit of. That's the adversary. See, so let's look at this. It says, and Cush begot Nimrod, and he began to be a mighty one in the earth. He was a mighty hunter before Yah, wherefore it is said, even Nimrod, the mighty hunter before Yah. And the beginning of his kingdom was Babel, Erech, and Akkad, and Chaldea in the land of Shinar. Right? So what is taking place? He's going around. See, he's not just hunting animals and things of this nature. He's hunting what? People. He was a conqueror. See, and he conquered the nations or the people that was around him. See, whether he conquered them verbally, because see, you don't always have to physically put a person in chains. You could do what? You could be a great galvanizer, right? You could be a person that can speak well and things of this nature. And you could put people in chains according to what? Your speech. So what he's doing is he's doing it both physically and what? He's doing it both physically and verbally. See? Because you got a lot of people, a lot of people joined him willfully because see, they was into what he was doing. See, so he's going around, he's conquering people, right? So the 11th chapter of the book of Genesis, the first verse, it says, and the whole earth was one language and one speech. And it came to pass, as they journeyed from the east, they found a plain in the land of Shinar and dwelt there. So the key verse is what? That the whole earth or the whole land was of one language and one speech. Meaning that what? They was under the same mindset, brothers and sisters. See? Because a lot of times when the conqueror conquers you, you take on his customs, you take on his traditions, and you start to follow after the customs and traditions that the conqueror has set in place, right? So who does that look like today? That look like the so-called, what we would call white supremacy, brothers and sisters. Because white supremacy did the same thing of today. They started to do what? First, they was conquering people physically, see? But later on, once the people start to, because you got to understand, the old generation that die off, but the new generation that have, the generation after them, when they start to go to their schools and they start to learn the language and things of this nature, now we're being conquered what? Mentally, see, spiritually. So he's conquering the people, right? The nations around the world, they being conquered, right? So now, what's taking place? The nations around, the people that's around him, they are one speech. And what does that sound like? That sound like today of white supremacy, see? Because when white supremacy was created, I think around the 1400s, they was going around, they was conquering nations, see? Under what? Christianity, brothers and sisters, see? And that's not just the so-called white man. That was under Islam and Judaism, see? They was conquering people too, putting people in slavery. But I wouldn't say that the Jews were making people become Jews, right? But they was what? They was very instrumental in the slave trade, brothers and sisters. Let's not lose sight on that. See, because according to history, Christopher Columbus practiced the customs and traditions of our forefathers. See, 44th chapter of the book of Isaiah, the 5th verse. They shall surname themselves after Jacob. See? So they was running around here calling them, telling people around the world that what? They are the people of the Bible. See? And they was exploiting our people just as well. So when it's talking about their one language and one speech, they're under the mindset of the Babylonian mystery system, right? So let's look at something. It says, and they said one to another, let us make brick and burn them thoroughly. And they had brick for stone, and slime had they for mortar. And they said, let us build us a city and a tower whose top may reach unto heaven, and let us make us a name, lest we be scattered abroad upon the face of the earth. Why is they saying that? Because what? When they talk about let us make a name for ourselves unless we be scattered amongst the earth, what does that mean? They want to make a historical mark, see? They want to make a historical mark, see? When you leave this earth, that's why you have people that play sports and they into academia. They can die, right? But it's their legacy that they leave on. And they could be dead 100 years. Depending on the person that they are, they're gonna be remembered throughout generations. So when they're talking about let us make a name for ourselves unless we be scattered abroad, what does that mean? They want to do what? They want to continue their legacy, brothers and sisters. And see, that's what we're looking at today. It's because Christmas, Easter, the so-called New Year, January the 1st, you know, all these pagan customs and traditions comes out of the Babylonian mystery system, see? From an economic, political, religious, social, all of this stuff coming out of Babylon, see? This is how she is remembered, see? But what, and look at this. This is the same thing that the Caucasian is doing. Because when he started to conquer people, how was his legacy remembered? By the educational systems that they set up. Do you understand when the conqueror conquers? Let's give you an example. It's a book that I got to finish reading. It's called Ebony and Ivy, right? And it talks about how the Euro-Caucasian, when he came over here, when they went to war against the so-called native and indigenous people of the country, when they conquered them, right, they started to build up what you would call universities and things of this nature. And the universities is still, the way that they the way that they do the situation is still going on today. It's just that we have been engulfed into the system. We see back then they created those colleges to train the people in the customs and the traditions of the so-called white man. See, that's why the institutions and the schools were created. What they would call land colleges and things of this nature. So the Native Americans, they were forced to go to these schools to learn English, right? To learn all the history that the so-called white man was teaching in those colleges. And see, when we go to this verse here, and it says, and they said, go to, let us build a city and a town whose top may reach unto heaven, and let us make a name, lest we be scattered abroad. What is that? That's talking about what? Their legacy. See, they want to make a mark. See, they want to be remembered thousands of years. See, so they thinking long term. So it says, upon the face of the whole earth. See? So this is the same way that all the conquerors, I don't care who you are, see, this is how the conqueror thinks, right? So they're going to set up a system from a religious, social, and a political standpoint of view. See, they're going to do that. And this is how the so-called white man is remembered today, see? And who was one of the major institutors of, putting his mark on the land was who? George Washington. I told one of my co-workers one day, right? I showed one of my co-workers, he's Ukrainian, right? He had a $2 bill. He had a $2 bill on his wall in his shop, because I do maintenance, right? So he had a $2 bill on his wall. I said, man, can I see that $2 bill? So he probably thought that I wanted it for myself. So he said, man, you can always go to the bank and go get a $2 bill. I said, no, I don't want it. I just want to see something on the back of it. So I took the $2 bill. He said, okay. I took the $2 bill and I turned to the back, and on the back it shows John Hanson, right? Because I think this is when the Declaration of Independence was established. So John Hanson is sitting there because back then they used to wear those wigs. And they get the whole concept of wearing a wig from, quote unquote, the Egyptians, or what you would call the people of Kemet, right? But where did the people of Kemet get it from? See, they got it from Nimrod, see? Because Nimrod, Semiramis Tammuz, or they call it the Akkadian dynasty. They called it by different names back then, but they was the parent stock of a lot of the traditions that we're dealing with today, right? So I turned the $2 bill over. I see John Hanson, so I show him on the $2 bill. I say, look, check this out. I said, I'm gonna put my light against the $2 bill, and I want to show you something. I'm gonna see if you see it. So I show all of the white people. We just use a white for educational purposes. All of the white folks that were sitting at the signing of the Declaration of Independence, I believe, right? Whatever bill they were signing, I think it was Declaration of Independence. But the only person that was looking dark-skinned was only one person, and he had a wig on too. And who was that? That was John Hanson. Do you know when I showed him that, he saw it right then and there. He said, man, you right. He was like, that dude, he's the darkest one out there. I said, because he was the first president of the Republic. I said, when George Washington and them came over here, he didn't even know nothing about the Moors. He didn't know nothing about that, see? Because that's not taught in their educational system, right? So, but I said, when he first came over here, it was already black people living here. And they already had a governmental structure. And we went into that history. But the key thing was this. He saw, when I turned that $2 bill over and I showed John Hanson that he got it right there. He saw that, and then he said, damn, and I told him that it's a statue of him in Massachusetts, right? But the statue of him is not of him. is really it's a so-called white person. So it shows you that when they started to conquer over here in these lands, they started to do what? They started to whitewash everything, building cities and towns, schools, right? And they started building statues, and a lot of the black people that was ruling over here, they destroyed that history, see? And then prominent black people that rule, they will make statues and they will call them people after their own selves, see? So I'm just giving you a backdrop of quote unquote history, see, on how when the conqueror conquers, he can write whatever he wants to write, right? So I'm gonna read one more verse from the 10th chapter, and then we're gonna go into something else. So it says, 5th verse, 11th chapter of the book of Genesis, it says, and Yah came down to see the city and the town which the children of men builded. And Yah said, behold, the people is one, and they have one language. So what does that mean? You know, because we're bringing it back now. What does that mean? It means that the people that was around about, they had become what? They was anti-Yah, see? Because they were worshiping Nimrod as what? As a god, see? So when he started to conquer all the nations, they weren't even really called nations back then. This is the children of Ham, Cush, and Shem, see? So when all the children of Ham, Shem, and Cush, they started to do what? They started to come together. They were worshiping Nimrod as who? As a god, brothers and sisters. And you may have people that were sprinkled here and there that was against Nimrod, but they didn't have no win, see? Because according to the story, it was Shem that was supposed to do what? That was supposed to have killed Nimrod, according to the story. So it was people around about that was against him, see? But the numbers always rule. When you have the more people that's following, quote unquote, then what? A lot of people gotta follow suit, see? So now what the Creator is doing? It says, and Yah, behold, said the people is one, they have one language, and this they begin to do, and now nothing will restrain from them which they have imagined. It says, let us go down there and confound their language, that they may not understand one another's speech. So the nations around the children of Ham, the children of Shem, the children of Japheth, they were all together, and they have become what? They have become adversary to the Creator. They build a society and a social order, right? But Yah is not with them. So Yah comes down and he does what? He confounds the languages. He confounds the languages. Meaning that what? These people, they're not going to agree anymore. They're not going to agree. And this is the same thing that's going on with the Caucasians of the world today. See, because they was all implicit, because they wanted to rule. They all came together to dominate, quote unquote, the black race. See, well, we understand there's only one race, but the human race. But the Creator did what? He empowered them. See, to be the next ruling social order that's going to rule on this planet. And they've been ruling for thousands of years. See? Well, I would say hundreds of years. See? They've been ruling. See? They've been ruling for centuries. And they ruled under what? Christianity. But Christianity is nothing but another byproduct of what? The Babylonian mystery system. See? Because when they're invoking Jesus, who are they talking about? They talking about Nimrod. That's who they talking about. But they don't know this is because why? It's because when the conqueror took over, they started to do what? Strategically use the so-called black man's history, which is the nation of Israel, to do what? To promote paganism, brothers and sisters. That's why, look, I don't care. You can know Hebrew, you can know Greek, you can know Latin. If the Creator is not in your consciousness, you can still be confused out here. So, these preachers, these politicians, right? These activists and all these people that's involved in the system, they went around the world, talking about these Caucasians, they went around the world preaching white supremacy, brothers and sisters. They went around preaching the concept of white supremacy and black inferiority. See, they did that for centuries. Teaching the world that the white man is God, see? And look, now you got the world today, they preaching it just as well. See, that's why when you look at, if you notice, when you look at all the nations that's fighting today, a lot of them look like Caucasians, even over there in the Middle East, because see, that's what they wanted to look like. See, that was the standard of brooding back then. See, most of these guys, like I'm looking at this guy right now, he looked like what they would call a Middle Eastern person, right? He got a darker hue, right? But his hair is what? Stringy, because a lot of them was intermixing with the Caucasians that was coming over during what? What they would call the Crusades and things of this nature. So you had a lot of quote-unquote nations, they was into what? They was into white supremacy too, see? But they don't even know that a lot of their traditions, a lot of their cultures, a lot of their practices come from the so-called black man, because the European Common Market System, right, which is white supremacy, is nothing but the old Babylonian mystery system of old, see? So now the Creator is doing what? The Creator has come down and confused the languages. Now all these people because you had the Berlin Conference, you had all that stuff going on, right? They was biting up Africa and all this type of stuff. Now they starting to fight each other. That's why you had World War I, World War II, right? Because World War I and World War II was fought. That was what? That was white on white. See. But now, what's finna happen is the Creator is confusing the nation's languages just as well, because it's not just the so-called white man. We're talking about because they try to say that Judaism is a nationality, which is not. The Jews is involved in this, right? Which is so-called white people. You got the Arabs that follow what? Islam. They're involved in this. and you got Christians. So when we looking at the Third World War, brothers and sisters, the Third World War is finna be fought between what? Christians, Jews, and Muslims, Hindus, Buddhists, all these isms, because all of those practices go back to the Babylonian mystery system, brothers and sisters. But a lot of these folks, they can't see it. It's because why? It's because the only people that's going to see it is the elect, see? That's the only people that's going to see that. See, the elect of the nation of Israel and the elect of the other nations. Because you got to understand that other nations is going to follow the nation of Israel, see? Once the gospel, once the true gospel of the kingdom is going to be preached, see? So, with no further ado, let's look at a quick scripture. Then we're gonna be reading from the 15th chapter of the book of Second Ezra, right? But let's look at this. Let's turn to the 19th chapter of the book of Revelation. It's gonna be part 1, right? We're gonna do part 2 and part 3 of this lesson just as well, right? Probably just keep it going. Let's look at this. 1 second, let me throw this down. All right, the 19th chapter of the book of Revelation. I'm going to start at the 17th verse. It says, "And I saw an angel standing in the sun, and he cried with a loud voice, saying to all the fowls that fly in the midst of heaven, come and gather yourselves together unto the supper of the great power." See? So when it says that, when it's talking about this, it says, "And I saw an angel standing in the sun." That's symbolism. What is that symbolic of? See? The sun is representative of what? The Babylonian mystery system, because see, Nimrod was the light bearer of his time on the left hand side. See? So we looking at this today. Who is the light bearer of today? Who is bringing the quote unquote light to all the people that's in darkness? That's the so-called white man. So the fowls of the world today are the nations that's following after her. So now the Creator saying what? Gather yourself together unto the great supper of the Most High. See? So what is taking place? That's why you seeing all these wars and all these rumors of wars, is because the Creator is doing what? He's gathering the nations together, and they're gonna fight against each other. The Third World War is going to be fought. It's going to be fought globally. There's going to be fighting in America. There's going to be fighting in Europe. There's going to be fighting in quote unquote Africa. See, it's going to be fought in South America. It's already happening, but we can't see this. Is because why? We in our glow. See, we still could go to work, make $20 an hour, but all of that stuff is going away. It's because why? America is losing her grip on society, brothers and sisters. See, America is losing her grip. How are we eating today? We're eating from the trucking companies and things of this nature. They shipping food into the country. We farming in the country, but the farming industry is about to be obsolete. We finna go into January. There's no snow really out here. See? Because the so-called white man has destroyed the air, he destroyed the soil, see, and he has destroyed the mindset of the people. So when the Creator is saying this, he says in the book of Revelations, the 17th verse, 19th chapter, it says, and I saw an angel standing in the sun. What is that? Talking about the European common market system. It says, and he cried with a loud voice, saying to all the fowls that fly in the midst of heaven, come and gather yourself unto the great supper of the great power. What is that? That, brothers and sisters, that's the battle of Armageddon. See? That's the battle of Armageddon. And what is that? That's the third world's war. Some people say it may be a fourth world's war. No, it's only going to be one more. See? And this war that's going to take place, it's going to be catastrophic. See? Because the same thing that America is doing over there in Palestine and Ukraine and all this type of stuff, the same thing is going to happen to her. See? The same thing is going to happen to her. They're going to start with conventional bombs that's going to be dropped over here. But eventually, it's going to turn what? It's going to turn nuclear. See? And you're going to have a lot of these folks out here, they're going to be destroyed. They done already told you that Russia got just as much technology. Their technology is just as good as America's technology. Do you know that if Russia shoot a bomb over here right now, that if they shoot multiple bombs over here, America can't stop it? See, America can't stop it. And one nuclear warhead can levitate this whole landmass. This is what the world is gathering themselves to do. So I know there are a lot of brothers in the truth. They want to gather food, and there's nothing wrong with that, right? You should be doing things like that. But the real gathering is what? That we have to leave America, brothers and sisters. See, we have to leave America, and we're going to have to go somewhere in Africa where there's no nuclear plants and things in this state, because, see, here in America is nothing but a nuclear toxic dump, see? You can't go to Europe and think you're going to hide over there because they got nuclear plants over there. See? So when the Creator said that he's going to gather all the nations to the final supper, what is that? That's death and destruction. That's death and destruction. See? And it behooves us to pay attention to what's going on. But see, when the prophets came on the scene back in 2,000 years ago, a lot of our people, they didn't even listen. And they had the knowledge of self. And believe it or not, a lot of our people today that got that don't have the knowledge of self, they're not gonna listen in this time. And they not. See, they still want to celebrate Easter. See, they still want to celebrate Christmas, brothers and sisters. They still want to do this. Because really, the reason why the Creator is destroying the human family because we're worshiping gods, wood and stone, right? And that ain't just the nation of Israel, that's the whole entire human family. See, we warn against the Creator. And as a result, the Creator is going to do what? He's going to destroy us. So it says, 18th verse, that ye may eat the flesh of the kings in the flesh of the captains, in the flesh of the mighty men, in the flesh of the horses, of them that sit on them. What is the cars and stuff like that? What do they say is made after what? Horsepower. See? So that's armies, that's generals, that's captains and corporals, people that rules and that have power. See? They're gonna go to war. Why do you think these migrants is coming over here? They don't even know. See, they think that America is going to allow them to come over here, right? Get on public aid, get on public assistance, get jobs in the country, and you ain't gonna have to pay a price. No, a lot of these migrants that's coming over here, they're gonna be put in these armies. See? There's already talk that they done already signed bills to put them on police forces and things of this nature. And you have a lot of migrants that's coming over here. They are part of different cartels and things, and they're gonna use them as what? Soldiers. See? And the first people that they gonna bust upside the head is who? Our people. See? So it says, and I saw the beasts and the kings of the earth and their armies gathered together to make war against him that sat on the horse and against his army. And see, who are they gonna be warring against? See, they really is gonna war against they gonna war against our people. That's who they gonna war against, because you know, sitting on a horse is a sign of what? Sitting on a horse is a sign of rulership. You saw that in that movie, the Django, when Samuel Jackson came and said, who that nigga sitting on that nag? See? Because a black man back then, he couldn't sit on no horse because it was a sign of power. Who do you think he is sitting on that horse like that with them good clothes on? See? And the sitting on the horse is symbolic of the so-called black man coming into the knowledge itself. See? They didn't bring no niggas to America. They brought the nation of Israel to America. See? And how they gonna war against you? See, they gonna start the process of getting you out of the country once you start to bring forth the question of who the real nation of Israel is. See? And we ain't seen they iron teeth. So they're gonna be warring on one front against themselves, and they're gonna war against you. See? But and that's how they warn against the Creator, because why? They're going to touch the apple of his eye. So brothers and sisters, you know, this was just a lesson today talking about current events and what's going on. This is part 1 of quote unquote, you know, I'm going to entitle this lesson The Battle of Armageddon. See, because that's really what this is. See, the Creator has gathered the nations. They're gonna fight each other, and look, it's gonna be catastrophic, man. And see, we're not just talking about millions of people that's gonna die. It's gonna be billions of people that's gonna lose their life in this third world war that's gonna take place. Peace, shalom, and death to America.